Hi everyone. So this video is going to talk you through the first part of this lab, the planning stage. So there are a couple of ways that you can do this. One, if you know what you're doing already, you actually don't need to watch this video. You can plan your own experiment and just skip this video. The second way that you could do this is that you could just watch this video to get an idea of how I did the planning, and then you can plan your own since you might want to use your own materials at home. And then the third way is that you can follow along and do the same thing that I'm doing, as long as you're writing stuff in your own words and not using the exact words that I'm using. If you're doing that version, you might want to just pause the video here and there to make sure that you're getting everything down that you need to. Okay, so your lab report should look roughly like this. I have a couple of sentence starters so that I'll be able to type a little bit faster, but other than that, it should look the same. So remember that the guiding question of this project, this lab, is which material would be best for a container to keep drinks hot or cold? And the key point here is that we're looking for something that does both of those things. If we have a hot drink, we want to keep it hot. If we have a cold drink, we want to keep it cold. Now, the good news is that you will find a material that works best for both of those because those are actually doing the same thing. We want to keep our drink at the same temperature that it started at, and that's the key point there. Okay, so I did a quick look around my kitchen to see what materials I have. And so if you're going to do your own experiment, then you need to think about what materials you have. If you're going to do the experiment with me, you can highlight the same materials that I'm highlighting. Okay, so for this first experiment, I've decided that, oh wait, I want to do this. I've decided that I'm going to use hot water, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So I'm going to highlight hot water. I'm not going to use room temperature water or ice cubes this time. I don't have any paper cups. I couldn't find one. I did find a plastic cup, so I'm going to highlight that. And I also have a metal cup. I'm going to highlight this. I also have, oh, I don't have a styrofoam cup. I wish I did because the styrofoam one is pretty interesting to use. So if you have a styrofoam cup, I would definitely recommend doing that. But I don't have one in my house. I do have, I'm going to just add a couple here. So I have this coffee mug, and I'm actually not going to say what material it is because we don't know what material goes all the way through this coffee mug. I'm going to say insulated coffee mug because that's what it's called. And then I also just have a glass cup. So, glass. All right, and notice that I made sure to find materials that are as close to the same size as I could. Now, they're not exactly the same size, but it's important that we're not changing too many variables here. We really just want to change the material. So ideally, we would have the same size cup in different materials. Unfortunately, that's probably not possible for all of us, and that just is the way it is right now. If we had a perfect experiment, we would do all the same size, but you can't always do that. Okay, I have a thermometer. Now this experiment would be pretty tough to do without a thermometer. So if you don't have a thermometer, you could either try and find one like at a Target or something. They're pretty cheap. I think you could find one for like $2. Or you can just follow along with my videos. And then I don't have plastic lids, so I'm just going to leave the cups open and that'll be okay. If you can find something to put over the cups, great. Let's see, am I using anything else? I don't think I am. Oh, because I already wrote those other things. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of this. All right, now I need to do my hypothesis. I'm not going to say out loud what my hypothesis is because I want you to come up with your own. So pause the video here. If you're following along with me, pause the video and fill in your hypothesis right now. Okay, hopefully you have written your hypothesis now, and we're going to talk about what we're going to measure now. I have a thermometer. You can probably guess that that means that I'm going to measure temperature. I want to measure temperature because I want to see if one of these cups is doing a better job keeping my drink hot or cold. I will measure temperature, and let's say over time. Okay, so if you're doing the experiment with me, you can write that exact thing. This one's okay to have in the same words. As we go through the method, I want you to write this in your own words, even if you're doing the same experiment that I'm doing and just watching me use these materials. You can change up the words a little bit to mean the same thing. Okay, so it says in detail somebody who is not in the group or doing this experiment with me should be able to follow it exactly. Okay, so let's think about how I need to start this off. I have hot water, I have, oh, you know what? I do need to add one more thing to my list. I'm going to use a measuring cup to make sure I'm using I'm putting the same amount of water in each of my cups as I measure, because again, we want to keep as many things the same as possible across our cups. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is get all my materials in front of me, and I'll just list those again. Plastic cup, glass, metal cup, and coffee mug. Thermometer, hot water, and measuring cup. Okay, so those are the things. Then maybe I'll start off by actually just measuring the temperature of, measure and record the temperature of the water before I even bother pouring it into the different cups, because then I have a starting temperature for all of them. Okay, cool, so I'll start with that. And then, so remember that you're writing that in your own words if you're following along with me. After I measure and record the temperature of the water, what do I need to do? Pour 1 cup of water, and when I say 1 cup, I mean like a measuring cup, right? 1 exact cup of water, I'll say the hot water, into each of my containers. Then I'm going to start a stopwatch or timer. And then I don't know exactly what the best increment of time would be to measure these, but let's do it the way that we did the last experiment. Let's say measure the temperature of each cup every minute. Now this is going to be a little tough because I have 4 cups and only 1 thermometer. So if you're in the same situation, then it might make sense to do 2 cups at a time and then try another 2 after, or something like that. All right, and then last step, I'll just say clean up. Okay, so the last part of this planning the experiment is I need to make a place to collect data. And this tells me how to do that. I'm going to insert a table. Now I need to think, how many columns do I need in this table? So I'm going to have a time column, and then I'm going to have a column for each of my cups, and I have 4 of those. So I need 5 columns. And then let's say I do it for 10 minutes, so I'll need like 10 rows. Okay, cool. So insert table, 5 across, and I need 10 down. Okay, and when I say make a table, that actually means I should just label the table also. Time in minutes, temperature of metal cup. That really means like temperature of the water in the metal cup. Temp of glass cup. Temp of plastic cup. And temp of, what's the other one? Oh, coffee mug. Okay, and then I should also put the units here. You know how I did the units for the time? I should also put that here. Since we're in science, we're going to do degrees Celsius. Let's see if I can find the degree symbol. Insert special character. Degree. I'm just searching for that. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it even has that. Okay, cool. I just clicked it and it should show up down here. Yeah, okay, cool. So now I'm just going to copy and paste this into each one. Okay, so now my table is pretty ready to go. Maybe I'll even put the times here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, I only have 9, so I'm going to right click, insert a row below, and do 10. Okay. At that point, I have finished the experiment planning. So the next video is gonna walk you through my experiment. It's another optional video that's just useful for those of you who either aren't sure exactly what you're doing or just want to do the experiment with me instead of at your own house, if you don't have some of the materials or something. All right. So I'll see you in that next video.